All right, guys, welcome back. This is episode number 4. Hey, man, I'm having fun with this. I don't know if you're having a lot of fun, but I'm having fun. We get a lot of feedback. We execute on all the feedback. We got a lot of things coming in store for you guys. So thank you again for tapping in with us. It's our 4th episode. We got a lot of things to talk about. Some topics we're gonna bring back and add a little more perspective, but we got some juicy topics. So I want to get right into it. Before I say that, how you doing? Are
I'm
you doing
doing
good?
great. I'm doing marvelous. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good.
And I'm having fun too.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a vibe.
it's a vibe. Let's get it. So, Target. We've been talking about Target, over their DEI stance over the last month or so. But Target is now being hit with a class action lawsuit over the company claiming, the people who suing Target, right, are investors claiming that the company misled them with their diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives and policies, which led to the company losing $15 billion and their stock price dropped 22%. So they actually lost $16 billion in November. That was a huge story. And a lot of people see that headline and they think it's attributed to the DEI that they said they was going to roll back against. And black brands are the black people and business owners are the ones that's really kind of taking this personal, right? You ain't really heard no other group say nothing. But this time it wasn't the black and Latino diversity, equity, and inclusion that got them in trouble. It was Pride. So they had a gay pride promotion,
I remember.
and you walk into the store, and it was like front and center in the store. Like I remember walking in, and I'm just like what is that? And obviously, I ain't got nothing against gay pride. That ain't got nothing to do with me. They were promoting like children's toys and clothes, and like this is the children's pride aisle. So that went bananas. Everybody went crazy. A lot of investors was calling them to, people was really boycotting then. Like the white people was boycotting, right? So Target saw that, and they took it out of all their stores. But by that time, their stock had sunk 22%.
Right.
And that's real money when you're a public company. 22% within a week. They lost $16 billion. And the premise of the lawsuit is that Target never calculated the risk. So Target executives, and namely the CEO, didn't calculate the risks associated with diversity, equity, and inclusion policies. So they were basically misleading investors, not calculating that into their forecasting, and which led to them losing $16 billion. So when you saw that headline, what did you think?
To me, I felt like somebody at Target didn't think this all the way through. Because to be honest with you, like nobody's under attack with that. Even my friends that are a part of the LGBT community don't believe in targeting kids or promoting things that are of a
Exactly.
sexual nature to kids. Literally,
Right.
my friends who are in that community are like, "What? What are we doing here?" Everybody was up in arms. There was no one who was happy about that. It just didn't make any sense. So
Yeah.
confusing.
I feel like do companies do focus groups anymore? You know how like that used to be a thing. Like before you roll it out, you get like 20 people from just random. I mean, just poking people out of the aisle and say, "Hey, I want you to comment on this product or whatever." It seems like they don't do that anymore because like even brands that roll out things and they have to apologize for saying something against black people. It's like you couldn't have no black. Like, did you have any black people in your board when y'all decided to do that? Um, or like with the pride thing, did y'all have anybody that stepped up and said, you know what, maybe the kids section should be like left out of this? We can support Pride Month, but like maybe the kids section and marketing children clothes isn't the best idea. Like nobody's in these boardrooms saying that.
But why would they be? You have to think about the big picture. Like the big picture is that we live in a country that is actively practicing racism, prejudice, all the isms, right?
Right.
So much so that we have to put in public policy to combat that. So you have that. And then now that we have public policy to combat that, you have individuals in power coming in and saying the policies that you put in to combat that are now reverse prejudice and reverse racism.
Right.
So the initial problem in the first place, which is the lack of diversity, never really gets resolved.
Right.
So, in my opinion, to answer your question, no, they don't have representation. And that's the whole problem, is that you have people who are disconnected from whatever demographic they're marketing to oftentimes, which is why they have to market stuff and then do it again and do it again 3, 4, 5, 6 times
Right.
before they actually get right in their lane, because they don't have the representation. They don't think, if we're marketing something to black people, let's get a black person in here and ask them their opinion. And not even
Right.
just one black person, because black people, people in the LGBT community, they're not a monolith.
Right.
Just because you ask one, gay, queer, lesbian person their opinion on something doesn't mean that their opinion is the uniform opinion of the entire community either.
And then now it should be easy because you can do a focus group on Zoom with 100 different consumers.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, you got all their data, you got their email, you got their phone number. Just send them a survey and say, hey, we will give you a $15 gift card if you spend 30 minutes with us going over these products and ideas. Sign an NDA. You can't say anything. Don't go blast it out, but whatever. And you can give them a little more than that, but I just feel like a lot of these companies that are going to get sued down the line, because Target is not the first. I mean, Target is not the last.
But some of those methods are getting outdated because of the way that we collect data now. Mm-hmm. Prior to social media, the way to collect data was with that. You had 1 or 2, 3 companies, Nielsen Media, that was in charge of getting ratings and data. And they did it like in the way that you're saying, by polling and sending out surveys, and here's $3, and if you fill this out, you'll get the other $3.
Yeah.
But I think now with the rise of social media and the
artificial intelligence
and the methodology of collecting data in that way without actual humans might be affecting it.
Yeah, so Target is definitely not going to be the last company to get hit with the class action lawsuit. I've seen a lot of lawsuits associated with diversity, equity, and inclusion, and like climate change. They're putting all those in like the same policy: climate change, diversity, equity, and inclusion, all those type of companies. So
because that's the only way you can fight in America. This isn't like we're not gonna go to war and take guns to the street.
Yep.
That's how we change things, and that's how we combat is through policy.
Yeah.
And they're not the only ones getting sued. Ladies, if you shop with Fashion Nova, some money might be coming your way if it hasn't already come your way. Say it ain't so. The retail giant Fashion Nova has been forced to refund customers over $2.4 million after the company suppressed negative online customer reviews. So these accusations are coming from the FTC. The Federal Trade Commission says that it's all part of a settlement where they accuse the retailer of having deceptive review practices and suppressing negative reviews. I mean,
have you ever left for a negative review on like a Fashion Nova or Amazon or like? Is that you? Are you that type of person?
Nah, to be honest with you, if I buy something and it's no good, I just take that L. I just take the L. And with Fashion Nova, they've been around for so long now that you have to know what you're getting when you shop with Fashion Nova. Mm-hmm. And as far as like suppressing the negative reviews, like I thought everybody did that.
Well, everybody do. They're just probably not as big as Fashion Nova. I mean, they say 148,000 customers.
So
will be receiving refunds now. So
that's like a whopping. Okay, we got $2.4 million divided by 148,000 customers is a whopping $16.
I mean, that's enough to get another Fashion Nova outfit, though. Ain't they stuff cheap, right?
Yeah, you can get another Fashion Nova. And something is going to tell me that with them paying $2.4 million, they didn't learn their lesson.
Oh, no, they didn't learn their lesson at all. I watched an attorney, an old attorney for Apple, and he talked about, a bad attorney, a good attorney, and a great attorney. And he said a bad attorney is somebody that tells you to avoid risk at all. They just try to get you to avoid all risk. Mm-hmm. A good attorney, he said, is somebody that can explain the different risk factors of doing this business practice. And a great attorney is somebody that's going to help you manage the risk.
Right.
So they run calculations and say, oh, we're going to break these 5 laws. We're going to get sued in 10 years, but it's going to make our stock price go up, 40, 50% because we're Amazon and we're stealing tips from our drivers. That's $100 million in revenue. We need that in order to, to please our investors. Sure, we're going to have a lawsuit and we're going to settle and we're going to pay out pennies, and barely any of it is going to go to any customers, but it's just the cost of doing business, right? And I'm just like, I never really thought about the legal practice or business like that. Like, I'm gonna break the laws intentionally.
Right.
I know I'm going to get caught, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the cost benefit analysis, it makes more sense for me to break the law, get fined, go through a court system for 2 years, and then just be like, oh, okay, you got me, I'll settle. And then when you see these big settlement amounts like $400-500 million, it sounds like a lot of money, but
not at all.
They literally make that in their stock price overnight off of good news.
Easily.
The good news of settling in lawsuit is going to even make them billions of dollars.
Yeah, and it happens in every industry. It really happens in the music industry when people sample someone's song without clearing it, and they're like, hey, if the song doesn't do anything, we're not getting sued.
Right.
If the song does numbers, we'll get sued and we'll pay them on the back end rather than paying to clear the song on the front end, and the song flops and then you just are out your money.
That makes sense. I had a friend who trying to rap or whatever, and he said I think it was Soulja Boy or one of them he tried to sample a beat from him, and he tried to charge him. He wanted 50% of the song on the back end,
Yep.
and he wanted like $15,000 up front. And my friend just like, why would I pay you the 15 G's up front? I don't even know if the song gonna hit.
Exactly.
And
why not just rip it, and then if it makes it, I'll pay you on the back end.
Yeah, I don't know if he actually ripped it, though. I think he was, like, scared. And I'm like, bro, you ain't going to make it in the music industry.
He didn't have an attorney to give him that risk-reward assessment,
Yeah, I mean, but a great attorney, they cost so much money, man. I mean, the entertainment business is nothing but attorneys. That kind of, like, when I was just getting into the business, I thought, like, the entertainment industry or the NBA or the NFL or these hockey leagues and all of these big companies, I thought they were like full of creative people and strategic people, and they full of attorneys.
Exactly.
That's all it's all copyright, trademark, and contracts.
Yeah, because it's what do they call it? It's what do they call it when you own something that you can't touch? Intellectual property.
Yeah, it's intellectual property.
Yeah, it's intellectual property, so it's not
not
something that's actually tangible. So
yeah.
So lawyers it is.
So it's just full of lawyers, and these companies. I mean, Fashion Nova, I'm sure they made probably at least, and just in brand equity, they made at least $1 billion just off of not having bad reviews, and people thinking like, oh, if this got a 4.5, I'll shop there. You know what I'm saying? Versus if it had a 2, people would be like, I'm probably not about to shop there. So
yeah, I mean, and the guy that owns Pretty Little Thing, which is another fast fashion retail brand like Fashion Nova, he bought that mansion in LA, the most expensive.
Oh I seen that.
It's called The One, and it's like the biggest, most expensive mansion in LA in the entire country. They can never build another mansion like that one because of
policies,
the structure and the laws.
And zoning.
Yeah, the guy that owns, I can't remember if it's a Fashion Nova owner or a Pretty Little Thing owner, but yeah, he bought that house and had like a big soiree.
I mean, it was for like 190 or 200 million or something, right? Or
like like 900 million.
Oh my God, that is
crazy.
That's a ridiculous amount of money to even.
I mean, it's more expensive than Jay-Z and Beyonce's mansion. Like, for real.
And then it's better to do that because they have so many models and all these celebrities.
The models be making $1 million a year, $250,000 a quarter. Like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Fashion Nova, y'all gonna get $16.
Check your mailboxes ASAP.
The other thing about that though is, I mean, you can't even go claim the money because they stopped claiming after.
Oh, yeah, that is the thing. If you didn't already get your money, you're SOL.
Yeah, so you're shit out of luck. All right, this is a good, man, like, I thought about making a documentary called, like, about the pandemic and all the scams and things that went on.
The scamdemic?
Like the scamdemic. They call it the bandemic, right? So I was scrolling online and I saw this young lady. She just kept going viral. You know how you see somebody's face, you don't know who they are, but you like, they just keep going viral. So her name was LaShonda Moore, and her husband I kind of gravitated to him because he used to talk about things from a male perspective, and she used to talk about it from a woman's perspective. And they a black couple, doing their thing, had this business. So I'm looking at their stuff online, and I'm just like, oh, this looks pretty nice, man. Like, this look dope. Like, I'm thinking about, I run a media company, so maybe we can collaborate on something. So I looked them up, and I just started researching some of the stuff they doing, and I'm just like, nah, this ain't it, man. So Texas couple admits to defrauding thousands of investors in a scam in which they coined "blessing in no time." Right? The acronym was called BENT, but it stood for blessing in no time. So they leaned heavily on the religion and Christianity community in order to run this multi-million-dollar scam. So about $10 million left investors' hands and went straight into their pockets.
10 million?
So LaShonda Moore, who's 35, and Marlon Moore, who's 37, entered a guilty plea on January 16th, admitting in their role in the $10 million scam. They have not been sentenced yet, so we're yet to know exactly how long they're going to do behind bars, but they're pretty sure they're going away for a long time. So,
oh man, $10 million. I'm pretty sure that the people they scammed are bent out of shape.
You was waiting on that. You was waiting
Talking
on
about some blessings in time, otherwise known as bent. Yeah.
So, Blessing in No Time was marketed as a faith-based financial opportunity that promised a whopping 800% return. 800%.
James, where else can you get an 800% return on your money?
In the streets. That's it.
Drug money. It'll
that's
get you
it.
what you want.
But you know what? I seen a post about how it said how a lot of black people think about money or business is always dealing with the streets.
Right.
So flipping their money, doing this, doing that. So like making 800% sound great to somebody who thinking with a street mentality because you think, oh, that's just a few flips. I'm good, right?
Right.
And that's a big problem in our community. When anybody with a real business mind and a business sense, you understand that 800% is just ridiculous.
Not really. So
That's
what
a
was the
ridiculous-
scam? How were they getting the money?
So pretty much they were telling people that it was a Ponzi scheme, but it was around like a board game.
Okay.
So you have to put like $1,400 in.
Okay.
That was the buy-in, and the money goes around this board. And then the person that gets selected for the board makes a shit ton of money, and they go around and tell everybody else to put money into the board. But allegedly, and they admitted to this, so it's not alleged anymore, every time it landed on the person that made the money,
They didn't have it.
the money was going to the Moore family, LaShonda Moore and Marlon Moore, but they was putting other people in front of it. Like, let's say, it's $50,000. I'm a call Shorty and be like, hey, Shorty, look, I got this thing going on. All you got to do is put up 5,000. We're going to get it up to about 50, and we're going to give you a return. We're going to give you 15,000. Right? So you tripling your money, and we're going to make it look like you won, but really we're winning, and we're fixing the whole game. It's a Ponzi scheme, and they just constantly put members of their family in front of people, members of their church in front of people, until at some point, they start ripping off the same people that they were putting in front of because, in a Ponzi scheme, the money always runs out. It's like musical chairs.
Yeah.
So basically, the money ran out, and, people started snitching on each other. And this was around the time where, this is the pandemic. I think this 2021, 2022. What do we know about 2020, 2021?
People were hurting for money.
Yes,
and they were trying to get
getting
some
the
money.
stimulus checks,
Yeah.
and they was getting the unemployment.
Yeah, so they had a little extra to play with and to
Exactly.
so-called try to flip.
And then if I see Shorty turn her 1,500 into 10 bands, now you run and tell 10 people, you make $1,000 every person you bring in. So it's just really a big Ponzi scheme.
Definitely.
And man, they were going viral. I'm talking about they had thousands and I went to one of their YouTube live streams. 35,000 people on there.
Oh my gosh. People were doing it locally too. I remember people were doing it in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
Yeah, I put about 300 in there. I wonder if I can sue and get my money back.
For one, okay.
I knew it was a Ponzi scheme though. I was trying to show my homeboy that it was because he was getting ready to put way more money than that. I was like, bro, just back my money. If I lose it, you gonna give me back my 300?
Right.
He was like, for sure, because I know this is a win. I was like, bet. Do I need to say what happened?
What happened?
My money got took. He didn't reimburse me, and we ain't friends no more. What
Oh
you mean?
my God.
Nah, we made up now, but I definitely had to, shake him up a little bit to let him know, like, you can't be this easy to get scammed.
And then it's crazy because you put your money up to help him save thousands and thousands of dollars.
I wanted him to see.
Right. And it's like, I would rather lose my 200 than you lose your 20, 30. Because people was putting real money into
Because he's going to choose violence when he lose his thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
I promise you that.
And he probably going to crash out.
He going to crash out real bad.
Yeah, so pretty much the blessings in no time pandemic scam ran out. This couple was from Dallas. They were having they was actually on one of these big TV shows. I need to look that up. What's the TV show?
D-Town's finest, man.
Blessing. LaShonda Moore. Let me look her up. They were on. What is the name of the show?
Was it like a talk show?
Yeah, they was on a reality show. And that's obviously how they got a lot of people, because you on these reality shows, a lot of black people watch these reality shows. Hold on, let me see. Blessing in no times.
Yeah, like the dude that got all that money because he linked with envy.
Oh yeah, exactly, right.
Notoriety helps.
They were on the Oprah Winfrey Network, but what's the name of the show? Man, I can't find it.
That is just awful.
Let me see.
Just taking money from hardworking people.
Let me see. I gotta find this out. They were on the Oprah Winfrey Network. Shonda Moore TV show. See, the only thing that's coming up is American Greed.
Which they'll be on an upcoming episode of.
No, they already own it. It's already an episode on it.
No.
I can't find it, and they keep trying to make me do a paywall, so I'll double back on that. But yeah, they were on a reality TV show, so that helps a lot, right? When people see you on there, that just gives you instant credibility. You're on Oprah Winfrey's network, right?
Absolutely.
So like, of course they're legitimate, and they just ripped a whole bunch of people off.
Don't believe everything you guys see on TV, man.
Yeah, and then unfortunately, a lot of these black people were older, so they didn't really understand social media. They were new to social media, so they seeing all these people with all these followers, all this clout, and they just got ripped off. So, I'm from Detroit, so I'm skeptical of everything. Anyway. I probably missed out on a few business deals that would have went right, because I'm just so skeptical.
Better that than being like me and getting scammed.
Yeah. I would have definitely. My friend would have just been chopped liver. But this is a great story. So an author named Frederick Joseph asked his audience to stop buying his books from Target shelves because of Target's stance on DEI and removing DEI. And another retail brand called Oh Happy Danny pulls their products from Target shelves entirely. They're still working out some inventory, but they pulled their brand entirely from the Target shelves in response to the DEI. Now, this is what a lot of people was telling, Tabitha
Brown
and all these other people to do. Now, obviously, they got one product there. Tabitha Brown probably got a lot of products, so she got a lot more to lose.
But it's still the heart.
This is what people wanted them to do. Do you think this would, pick up legs and more people will start doing this?
If everybody did this, we would be able to get somewhere. And to be honest, even though Tabitha Brown has a lot more product, that to me means that these guys have more to lose.
Yeah, because she got Walmart partnerships. She got 100 other partnerships.
Yep, she's still her, right? These guys got one product, meaning that pulling that one product off the shelf could really be the difference between their livelihood.
Yeah.
And salute to them, man. Salute to Frederick Joseph I'm gonna buy your book. I don't even know what the book is about, but I'm definitely gonna buy a couple copies.
So here's my problem with it though.
Okay.
The problem is it's not like Target singly is doing this. Walmart's doing it, Amazon's doing it, Facebook's doing it, Twitter's doing it, everybody, Google's doing it. So at what point do you run out of distribution? Like you run out of people to cancel. Like if we cancel Amazon, okay, you canceling Target, you see what I'm saying? So it's like if I'm driving, I need some tissue. Well, I ain't going to Target. I ain't going to Walmart either. Like where am I go?
But do you think it would get to that point where all of them would have to be boycotted? Or do you think we could make a strong enough point by boycotting one or two retailers and then the other ones fall in line? Because it took the Montgomery boycott 1 full year.
Yeah, but I feel like we're not in the 60s no more. It's too many. Unfortunately, it's too many niggas doing good right now. Like I ain't gonna lie, like you know what I'm saying. When stuff be going on with other black folks across town, and you driving a Benz, you know you ain't really trying to be macho man. Like you was saying about the Kaepernick thing, like. Bro, I'm making $40 million over here. I don't know about kneeling for social justice right now. You see what I'm saying? So it's a lot of black people doing well, and they like, man, I don't really care about none of that. Like, I'm Tabitha Brown. I'm making my couple million a year. Like, I'm not about to pull my products out of there.
And that's big facts.
Yeah, and you know, the Oh Happy Danny, the lady who pulled her products off the Target shelf in response to the DEI cancellation, I actually think if her now, I don't know this about her brand or not, but if her products was doing pretty poorly, this actually makes sense for her to pull it instead of Target pulling it.
Okay.
Because what I think Target was doing, and a lot of entrepreneurs agree with me on this, Target had a lot of black-owned brands that were not doing well, and they just had them up there for the optics, right? Because they were not getting full support from their community or no other community. And a lot of that product was just sitting on the shelves. But let's say one of her brands was like that. It's better in retail to pull your own product and control the narrative.
Right.
Than let's say Target, Trump get out of office, the Democrats get in office. So now DEI is a cool thing again. Target roll back the DEI. Now she can stand on business and be like, yeah, we back in Target. Instead of you got kicked out of Target because your sales was low.
And I think that's smart of her to get in front of the narrative anyway.
I do too.
Yeah.
But I don't know for sure if she's pulling that, if that's the reasoning behind it.
Yeah. But either way, she's showing a stance. She's saying that's why it is.
Exactly.
You know, how many people are going to really go digging to find out if that's the truth? I think that the public stance is something worthwhile.
I do too.
Well, speaking of black-owned businesses and entrepreneurs,
Let's get it.
Big shout out to Georgia for being ranked the highest for black-owned businesses for the 3rd year in a row. I got to clap it up for that. Big shout out to Georgia. Yes, so 11% of businesses in the state of Georgia are owned by African Americans. Again, 3rd year in a row. And nationally, the numbers went up by 22%. And the genres of business are social services, healthcare, and beauty and women's care. So, yeah, big shouts out. And if you want to start a business, you want to be an entrepreneur, go to sba.gov to get some more information on how you can start a business. It's not easy, but it's easier than you probably think it is. So if you want to do it, you should do some research.
Here's my only like when I hear stats like that, I'm always proud. Yes, we're starting businesses. Here's my only gripe. I don't think we need more black-owned businesses. Like I don't think we need more black-owned like LLCs or whatever. What we need is more black entrepreneurs literally coming together and forming conglomerates. So like if you have a hair care brand and somebody else has a makeup brand and somebody else has a perfume brand and y'all all killing it, y'all literally should come together and form your own mini Procter & Gamble, your own mini Unilever, and you have leverage, and then your costs go down. Y'all can share the same office. Y'all share the same law firm. Y'all share the same accounting firm. That's a real business.
You can get bigger contracts. You
can hire better employees because now your marketing team can consist of high quality talent, and you don't need, you don't need 3 different marketing teams. You got one marketing team.
Absolutely.
So I think that's the biggest problem that I have when I see these numbers is how many businesses or entrepreneurs are coming together. How many of these people have employees, 2 to 3 employees, 5 to 10 employees, 50 employees? How many people are really being impacted by this? Not just, hey, I just want to start a nail business, so that counts as a black-owned business.
Right.
And I think a lot of that goes into, the numbers. But, Georgia is definitely on top when it comes to black-owned businesses that thrive.
Yeah, and I love that because we're usually just at the top of the consumer base. So, yeah. Speaking of consumer base, I know you're about to spend some money.
I mean, I'm forced to spend money. It's Valentine's Day, so I got to do what I got to do.
What's your Valentine's Day budget?
I mean, I'm gonna be honest. It depends. It depends on how deep the relationship is, right? So, if you just let me give you some game, fellas. If you just getting into, all right, women are easy to date in January, in February because they want to give for Valentine's Day. If you just getting on a girl in January and February, don't spend more than $300 on it. I don't care how much money you got. Don't spend no more than $300, and that includes the date. That includes the gift. That includes the experience. Do not spend no more than $300.
And so some broke dudes out there like 300.
Right.
That's a lot.
But not when you're talking about a date and you talking about a gift, and don't spend no more than $300.
Okay.
All right. If I've been dating you longer than 6 months, we can up the budget on that. You know what I'm saying?
All
We
right.
can go to about $500.
Okay.
But if I've been dating you and you serious and you the one, I mean the budget unlimited, and for me, for a guy
Period.
like me.
Period.
However, I'm saying that, but I ain't spend unlimited money.
Pop your shit, James.
I ain't spend unlimited money. I mean, I just hand over the card, do what you do, and just pray.
Hand over my card and you do what you do. That's a love language.
But
you hear me?
you just pray that she don't walk, she don't walk and fit small, and go get too trigger happy.
But hopefully you'll know your girl. You know that she.
I mean, you think you know your girl until you give her an Amex.
No, that's real. That's real.
So fellas, listen. Do not, I repeat, do not splurge on Valentine's Day because it's just not really worth the invest. You never really get your return on your investment.
Go ahead and splurge.
Because if y'all, like most relationships not going to work out. So like if you spending all this money on Valentine's Day trying to impress her and you just got on, you a simp, bro. I'm sorry. That's just a bad, I'm an investor. That's just a bad investment.
Okay.
I feel like the right girl, $200-$300, y'all can have a great time.
All right.
That's a good date.
2025. Don't be a simp.
So how much do you count the cost? Like if a guy get you a gift, do you like count the cost? Like, man, this was $200, or this was like, you see what I'm saying?
Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. I don't celebrate Valentine's Day, so I don't really ever expect anything on Valentine's. I don't celebrate any holidays, so I don't expect gifts for holidays. But I want to be treated good, throughout the year in general. And I don't want my man to be cheap, especially if he has it. Don't be acting cheap with me.
I mean, so what's cheap though? Cheap is relative.
Right.
$50,000 is cheap to some people. And
true. Well, based on whatever he has going on. That's
so
all
if he make 6 figures, he got to spend what? 6 figures. Let's say he make 100 G's.
Right.
How much you expect him to spend?
To be honest with you, I think creativity matters as well. So maybe to answer your question, I'm not necessarily clocking how much you're spending as much as I am, the thoughtfulness and you paying attention to what I like. But I do like nice things. So, you know what I mean?
So how much?
I'm not mad at your budget. I'm not mad at the 300, budget, 400
You gonna
budget.
want more than something for 300 though.
I am.
So that's what I'm saying. So
Look at me trying to be internet friendly.
No. If you're dating a guy,
Yeah.
and let's say y'all been dating a year, y'all just, the first Valentine didn't really count. Y'all just really started feeling each other, whatever. But y'all been dating, and he comes in with a gift. How much, what would turn you on and what would turn you off? Because there's a certain
Maybe like for the whole thing, like 800, 1,000 range, you know what I mean? With like a nice gift and then maybe like, a night out. Maybe we could do a staycation or something. I don't
you
know.
can't do a staycation a stay. Oh, you mean stay in the crib?
Staycation, like get a hotel or something, in the city.
Oh no, you ain't gonna be able to get no hotel in the city. A gift, something out to eat for 800.
Yeah,
Y'all gonna be in a motel
for one night? One night.
Nah, I mean the suite that I was looking at, cause I'm, the staycation situation.
Yeah, pop your shit.
It was literally $800. So
The
when you
suite alone.
the suite alone,
I know
yeah.
that's right. I know that's
the,
right, James.
The hotel next to the Mercedes-Benz Stadium.
Period. The
They
new
got
one,
some,
the Hard
yeah,
Rock.
they got some nice. They got some nice. They got some nice suites in there.
With some good views.
Yeah, you should definitely check that out. But we're kind of joking around, but now we're about to get into a more serious topic because this one, man, this hit close to home, man, because the city of Detroit. A lot of y'all know I'm from the D. I talk about it a lot. My Lions lost. I was bitter about that, but when I graduated from college, I lived right across the street from the casino downtown Detroit. And I used to park in that casino in order to avoid paying for parking because it was like a parking lot across from my building and they wanted like $200 a month. So I used to just park in the parking lot of the hotel. I mean, not the hotel, the casino and walk over. And when I read this story about the two children dying in a car because their mom was homeless, they were homeless, and they were sleeping in a car, and they ran out of gas, and they didn't have any money to go get gas, so you could continue heating the car. The two kids, the mom came back. I don't know where she was at, but she came back, and one of the kids she realized was dead, so she took. Try to take them to the hospital or try to get some help. And then when they went back to the car, they realized the little girl was dead as well. This is when I read this story, I was just like, I knew so many people. Like, I didn't know them, but like when I used to walk from that area, like I saw them. So, you walk past somebody 10 times, you start, hey, how's it going? Might give them $1 or two. Like, you know what I'm saying? I knew people who were homeless that lived in those areas or lived on the stairwell. And Detroit get cold.
Very. Very
cold. And as I dug into the story, I realized it was even closer to home because the guy, the child's father, the children's father, it was two of them.
Who ain't shit, by the way.
He was actually dating somebody I went to college with. And like was cool with, I used to hang out with. Like, he's dating a girl.
They tearing him down right now on the internet. He said so many things in his news interview that were problematic. He literally said that he didn't know his kids were homeless. He hadn't seen them in 3 months. He just FaceTimes them. And the reason is because he's so busy working. But when he got the call that his child had passed away, he said he was in the gym on the treadmill. He said that the baby mom had asked him to come and get his kids multiple times, but she didn't specify why she wanted him to get the kids.
Right.
And so since she didn't let him know that she was homeless and desperate and living in her van, he didn't go get them. So basically, she needed to tell him, we're homeless, we're freezing, come get the kids. Like, just asking him to come get his own kids wasn't enough.
Right.
It's literally, like, disgusting behavior.
It's very disgusting. And when I did the research on it, I found out who his girlfriend was. Right? So that triggered me because I'm like, wow, I know this person. But she ain't shit either. Because why would you date somebody? You're literally dating, and they're like posting up on social media, kissing, like they like couples online, like they doing that whole thing. And like I don't understand, why would you date somebody? They have kids, and you have a problem with them seeing their kids. So a part of him,
I was like, do you know that she had a problem with it? Because sometimes guys...
That's the narrative being pushed.
Because guys always say, I can't see my kid. She won't let me. She's crazy. You know?
That's the narrative that's being pushed. And like I said, I got some close sources to the situation, and they were letting me know, like, that kind of fucked her up. The girlfriend. Because she knew the situation. So a lot of time, but I'm not sure if they actually knew that they were homeless, sleeping in because homeless could mean I live out my car, but I live with my aunts, or I'm down on my luck. I go over my friend's house. I'm over here and there, and the kids could be okay and be taken care of. Mm-hmm. But that same homeless can also be sleeping on the side of the road in a frozen car, in a parking lot, and then you end up dying. So homelessness, we use those words interchangeably, but it's a seriousness of homelessness, and it's a homelessness
couch
to where
surfing.
Like you're just couch surfing. You got family, you got friends. You're not necessarily sleeping in a car. So, it's just a devastating story, man. And like I said, the young lady who he's dating, she ain't shit, because it's like, how can you date somebody that have kids? Their baby mama tell them to come get their kids, and y'all need like a real reason. Like, this is a research paper.
But those are his kids. I totally understand what you're saying, and I used to literally feel like that too. I used to blame hand in hand whoever the new girlfriend was, the new boyfriend. I would blame them right with the deadbeat parent, right? But what I'm really realizing is that it's the parent's responsibility to parent and take care of their children. And if someone else can make you not take care of your children, you really didn't want to take care of them in the first place. It's just that now you have another party to help justify it, right? So if my new boyfriend is uncomfortable with me, going to get my kids because he thinks I'm secretly still having an affair with my baby's dad, there's something already inside of me that wanted to be a deadbeat parent. And now I'm just letting the boyfriend's influence do that. Because when you are a loving parent, there is nothing or no one that can make you not be a part of your kids' lives. Like I came to realize that over time.
I don't know. What about, the legal system, especially with me? I'm speaking from a man's perspective. Mm-hmm. The legal system is not on our side. Like, I have family members who they had issues with their baby mama. The baby mama literally left the city, left the state. They went, to St. Louis or whatever from Michigan. That's a long ways. That's 8-9 hour drive. Like, they took the kids. So at that point, what is he supposed to do? Now, everybody like, well, you supposed to go out there with her and try to figure it out. Well, she out there with her family, and like, he don't even know where she at. She not answering the phone. It's kidnapping when a man does it.
No, it's kidnapping when a mom does it too. Like I have family members, homeboys, and everything that have hired private investigators, did everything they can do to see their kids. Now, what I'm not saying that that's not a barrier. In that type of scenario, that is a barrier, right? And I think that even in that scenario, you should be, willing to fight for your kids. You shouldn't have to. You shouldn't have to. Let me preface that, right? You shouldn't have to. If you're put in a situation where you do have to, right? I think that there's nothing more worthwhile fighting for than your kids. Mm-hmm. But I will also say that type of barrier is a different barrier than my girlfriend or boyfriend is just uncomfortable with me going to get my kids.
Well, then you got a lot of situations where these do. I mean, I don't know the guy, right? But
he just seemed unmoved on the news. He wasn't.
His baby mama with his kids is homeless. So, I mean, it don't seem like he far-fetched from what they got going on. Mm-hmm. But he got this new girlfriend, and maybe he living with her, maybe he living off her. Mm-hmm. So what she say goes.
Yeah.
So in that situation, she might be like, yeah, I'm shutting that whole situation down. Like, you ain't even, like, you're not doing that. And she probably thinking she asserting her dominance or putting her foot down or whatever. But really, she's keeping him from his kids. But what you're saying is, can't nobody keep you from your kids.
Those are his kids. But ultimately, when it comes to these kids dying, everybody failed them. Yeah, the mom was reaching out to the city of Detroit, looking for housing, looking for shelter. They were failing her. The baby dad was failing her. The girlfriend of the baby dad was failing her. Everybody was failing her. Like, it's just a completely tragic story all the way around. If you want to help, they do have a GoFundMe. If you want to, contribute and help them out, because this is just tragic all the way around. You got to be careful who you have kids with.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I just try to think about, um, and a lot of times we, especially us educated folks, when you go to school, you learn to think, right? A lot of times people be having mental health issues. A lot of times people be having, like, if she don't have a house, she don't have access to a computer and all of it. So a lot of people, in the comments, they like, well, why she didn't go here? Why didn't she go do this? Why didn't she do that? And I'm just like, man, you really don't know how you would react or what you would do. And you left your kids in there all. I'm sure that she didn't left
And
her
she didn't
kids in
even
there
leave
before.
them. She was in there with them.
I know. I'm just saying. I'm sure sometimes you didn't left your kid. I'm saying her, right? I'm
Yeah.
not saying you. I'm just saying, like,
The critiquer.
I'm sure she has left her kids to go into the casino, or run to get something, run even to get some gas or whatever, and came back and they were okay. But this one time she come back and both of them are gone.
Yeah.
That was just a tragic situation.
This is a perfect example of what happens when we don't put the kids first.
Yeah.
If you're going to date someone with kids, you have to know you're dating someone with kids. And you got to be able to put their kids first along with them. Like, this is just, it's just too outrageous. And his demeanor in his interview was just so disturbing to me. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, that one hit close to home because so much went on in that situation. Right in my city, right across the street where I used to live, right in where I used to park, and I used to see people who were in there that were homeless. And it's crazy because I was looking at her and I was trying to think, like, maybe I might even know who she is. Like, it's so crazy, man. And it's just,
Yeah, prayers out to her.
yeah.
Prayers out to everybody involved. Prayers to everybody who's sleeping in their cars and doesn't have somewhere, warm and safe to be. So,
Yeah. I don't know if you've seen when we posted about the family that is battling the railroad company. So I'm sure you're
they're
familiar
trying to
with
take their, 500 acres.
Yes, I'm
Yeah.
sure you're familiar with eminent domain. So for the
Yep.
people who don't know what that is basically the government can seize your property, your land, and give you quote unquote fair compensation and fair market value. Which they're just looking at your market value as a business, not that your family been here for 8 generations. They don't care.
Yep.
And this has happened to a lot of black neighborhoods that were thriving. Freeways come through there, schools come through there, amusement parks, all of this craziness. So a railroad company is looking to build a shortcut through this prominent African American community, and the family that's been owning it since 1920. Imagine owning some land, 600 acres, since
As black people.
as black people, since 1920, and the government and a judge just literally signed off, basically saying that a for-profit organization can come in and take your land in order to build a railroad because it's for public use. It's a public good. And this family is fighting, and they actually reached out to me, and they have legal representation. So I don't think they need any help in terms of that. But they more so wanted us to promote the story and get the word out just to get more momentum moving, because a lot of times things like this make headlines and everybody forget about it.
Right.
Then this family lose 600-700 acres, which could potentially be millions of dollars if we really being honest, because 700-800 acres is all about what you do with the acres. Now, what if they come build on that, or you
It's
see what I'm saying?
obviously valuable right now, which is why they're trying to take it.
Exactly, and
Yeah.
they're not
They don't come for eminent domain where it doesn't matter.
exactly. And the Smith family, is being taken advantage of. They're appealing it to the Georgia Supreme Court. So fingers crossed with that. But a lower court judge basically sided with the railroad company and said it would be a public use for the railroad company to cut through their land. And the railroad company is basically saying, "Oh, you can still live here. We just need to cut through your land." Well, who the hell want to live right next to a train, if I don't have to, right?
Right.
And all these fumes and all this fuel and all this stuff y'all shipping, like that can potentially contaminate the area. So now, we're forced out even if we allow y'all to build through there. So it's just a very unfortunate situation.
Well, let's definitely try to get the word out there. See whatever we can do to help them.
Yeah, man, the Smith family, man, they've been there since 1920. So I just can't even imagine how life was 100 years ago.
I don't want to.
To own, no, to be a black family and to actually own something.
Yeah, it's probably like something to really be proud of, but at the same time, kind of scary.
Yeah. It's similar to that story, like the LA beachfront property that was taken from that black family 100 years ago, which is now worth 26 million dollars. They got it back through some type of reparation program in LA, and they ended up selling it. They ended up selling it back to the government. But at least they got $26 million though. I mean, they got a bunch of money, but the beachfront property, which is obviously we know in LA is going to be worth a lot more.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they ended up selling that, but it's just similar stories like that always come out, and I mean, unless you got access to the best lawyers in the business and you can appeal to the Supreme Court and all that. I mean, and then the Supreme Court, I mean, who's to say they ain't buddies with the billion-dollar railroad company?
The whole thing is rigged, if you ask me.
Yeah, I mean, then you go to the Georgia Supreme Court, and then you can potentially go up to the highest Supreme Court. But once they strike it down, I mean, you just might as well pack your bags. But all right, guys.
I hope everything works out for them.
I know, man. I've been in contact with them, and we're emailing back and forth. All right, guys. I appreciate you guys for rocking with us. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe on the YouTube channel. If you're listening to this via audio, make sure you subscribe on Apple and on Spotify. Send us some topics you guys want to discuss, and we're working on getting some guests up in here, so we can bounce some topics off them. So if you guys have any guests that you would recommend, send them our way. That's Black Millionaires _ on Instagram, Black Millionaires on YouTube, and Shorty Mack. How can they check you out?
Shortymackatl on all platforms.
All right, peace.